All right, call to order the E5 board meeting Tuesday, July 22nd. Roll call.
Dale Wilson,
Here.
Kurt Offenbacher,
Here.
Brian Parker,
Here.
Charles Kimball,
Here.
Patty Chapel.
She's muted. Yeah, be on mute, Patty.
Unmute. There we go. I'm here.
All right.
Staff.
Kyle Rodman.
Wendy McKay,
Mark Rammer.
Ellie Strange, Alicia Burgess, Sarah Klein.
Ron Courier. Derek.
Oh.
Take your face. Okay, timing. Here. Yeah, here.
So introduction, I guess Chad's.
Oh, Chad's on and
Chad's on.
we'll have another guest. What's his name? John Courier will join us after the executive session.
Okay. Any changes to agenda tonight?
Did you want to add the?
Yeah,
contract
I
amendment? Okay.
added, the committee, Charles and I. Have been working with Kyle on a retention agreement to his contract. So, and with lots of help from Chad, so, did it get on that?
I didn't put it on because this was published on the website, so we didn't alter that.
Okay.
We can just add it wherever you'd like.
Yeah, so, we can discuss that and probably not vote today because the others have not seen it. It's, but anyway,
Okay, do you want to do that at the end or while Chad's here, or what would be your preference?
we have to do it in public session.
Yeah, I think so.
Do it right before the executive session. Yeah, we can do it right
Okay,
before the
we can do it right now.
executive session.
Sure. Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is, just give a brief summary and then let
Okay.
people read it.
That sounds good, yeah. So we'll put it after public comment here, maybe between 4 and 5 then.
Deferred items. Any public comment?
Nope. Yeah, it's awesome.
So we'll recess to, executive session.
Did you want to do the contract first or after?
Oh, yeah, we could do it. Yeah, let's do it
Okay,
before,
okay.
so, it's very short and in a nutshell, it's a second addendum to Kyle's contract. Just like the change was last year, the first addendum. And this, instead of trying to do annual stuff, it's, if Kyle's here, like, still here on June 1st, 2030, which is 5 years, he will get $115,000 payment. And what that does, that's kind of like a $20,000 a year at 5%. If you do the math, it's about that. So that's kind of, that's what Kyle agrees to it. It's just some legal language. And then we can change, the board can change that potentially, but not the time frame.
Yeah.
So if Kyle leaves here on May, the last day of May, 5 years from now, he will get nothing.
That'd be a poor career decision.
It would be, right? So, how do we get, so we can put it in the board only?
Yeah, we can send it out, and then, if the next meeting, however you want to vote on it, we
At
can
the
put it in
next
the
meeting,
packet.
I'd like to vote on it.
Yeah.
Kyle's been patient, but it's kind of been a slow, it got to be from very complicated to very simple.
I mean, unless anybody objects, we can vote on it today.
Well, they haven't seen it, I guess.
You just described it, 5 years and $115,000.
That's all there is to it. Would, Patty, would,
Yeah, whatever. You guys, I'm hoping Kyle decides to still deal with this that long.
Somebody wants him, they're gonna have to buy him out.
So we can just vote on it now. I mean, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, ask Chad maybe what he thinks
What
about
do you
that.
think, Chad?
I think that's fine. I mean, if the board has had time to review it,
It's the exact language has not been provided to them.
I could, if I read it, would that be,
I could bring it up too if you want.
if I can find it?
Give me a second.
Second Amendment, okay.
it is a very simple agreement. So I think it was summarized correctly. So if the board's comfortable with that concept, it'd be appropriate to vote on it. But if you'd like to read it as well.
You know,
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right here, Kurt. It's short. Here's what it looks like.
oh, sure, I'm saying.
Yeah, let's vote.
So Kyle has to remain as general manager. He can't, if 5 years, 4 years from now, he wants to be a lineman, that doesn't count.
Oh, it's gotta be general manager. I got it.
It ties together the two other changes that were made over the last 3 years as well.
But yeah, and those are exhibits, the previous changes to the contract. Our first attempt at this was through the retirement program. They wanted $4,000 a year to administer 20,000. So that didn't work out very well.
Oh, I went for him.
Trouble.
But again, looked over,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the Second Amendment to Kyle's contract as stated.
For a second.
Second.
I'll. I need second.
She did.
Yes, she did.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
You know what you're getting into, Kyle.
Why?
Oh, I love it here, Betty.
I know.
Patty, we voted.
You
Yes,
vote?
yay.
All
Okay,
right, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Unanimous. So we'll get that executed.
Thank you.
And what, why can you not vote?
I abstained from it. At the very beginning,
Yeah.
my question is how are we putting 20,000 away a year to do this, or we just at the end of 5 years? Well, it shows as a liability. Right, but
Yeah.
I don't know, how's it funded? Out of the
Out of general fund.
Yeah, but I mean, how, I mean, well, and then you put 20,000. Or is it just at the end of 5 years, right?
It would become a line item budget of this year's budget.
Yeah, we can do that. Sarah can figure it
Starting
out.
I don't imagine that, Sarah, that we would reserve that in an account, it's just a liability sitting there.
Probably should be recorded as a liability.
You know,
Right. It would be
it's a requirement to pay in the future, sure.
Your last 20 days, you might wanna drive real slow.
You don't go to mountain climbing or anything. That's funny. They changed. it.
Okay.
So,
Motion passed.
Motion passes.
One
4
abstention.
with 1 abstinence.
Yes, sir. Very glad to be here for at least that long. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Don't say abstinence, it's the deal.
Yeah, that's a word. Never mind.
Abstaining.
Did you see that Central Lincoln's now gonna have 2 ex-GMs on their
I
board?
did.
That seems crazy.
I'm not sure I like that trend.
Who is?
I wonder, yeah, I wonder if somebody else doesn't like it.
Central Lincoln.
Okay.
Really?
Now, we're gonna recess to executive session. The executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.6602H, which allows a governing body to meet in executive session to consult with counsel concerning legal rights and duties of the public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of this session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will adjourn the meeting. Resume public session. Fraser, report. Sarah?
We have a guest, you want to use some.
Sure, everyone. This is my dad, John Courier. He's from Tampa, Florida. He's very interested in what we do here. He works for Tampa Electric Company in Tampa, and 42 years.
All right.
42 years. So he's here visiting the grandkids this week, and he let me come check out what I do.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
Welcome, John. What
So,
what do you do in Tampa for the electric company, John? And welcome to our area.
Well, thank you for asking. Yes, so I'm an engineer by training, and I'm a director of the grid modernization program, at Tampa Electric.
Interesting. All right, good for you. All right, down there in that really hot lowland.
Very hot, good for sales, not bad for sales. But yeah, it's hot, and it's nice to come up here in the summer, get a break from it.
it's a dry heat at least up here.
And
Yeah.
it's nice.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Sarah, you're up.
We'll have to make sure to ask Rob some hard questions today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll set him up.
Yeah, we'll make it our best to make you look proud. At least their shiner's gone now.
Yeah, better.
Yeah, what's the word did he tell you? There's the real story.
Compare notes,
Such a smart mouth.
All right, so we'll just start off with item number 1 to General Pacific. 99,000 and change of that payment was related to 59 heat pump water heaters. So the cost is 1,690 each, and 900 of this will be reimbursed by EPA. I think we talked about these last month, although I wasn't here, so.
I did the best I could.
Cool. So just an update to date, 33 of the 100 units that were sold have been inspected. That's a continuing project, and we'll try to keep update on the progress there.
Is there a time frame that people can do this?
By the end of the year is ideal. We're working, I mean, it's a lot of handholding, right, for each one of these. And so we're working with each customer to make sure that they're getting it in, and some of them haven't been received yet, even, so I think by the end of the year is our goal.
Do we still have that program in any other form? This was the giveaway.
This was the giveaway, this was the big promo. The program still exists to offer rebates to customers, just like it's always existed.
What kind of heat pump water heaters are they? What brand?
EE, what the check is.
Well, General
That's
Pacific
the
is our
generator.
leader.
Right. They are green water heaters.
Oh, they're still Ream. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are the primary ones that are for sale now. The General Electric Geosprings, I don't think are out there anymore. Yeah, they're being,
Okay. Well, I only ask because I've been having some issues with mine, but not to worry.
All right, so the rest of the items that I wanted to point out are related to recent financing activities. So item number 12 to Kashmir Valley Bank. That was the payment for the upfront fee on the line of credit that we put into place back in February. The terms on that invoice were extremely generous and we took advantage, so that's why you're just now seeing that payment. And then line 203 to Foster Garvey, that was our bond counsel for the public placement that we just completed. And then you see Moody's and Fitch, both rating agency fees, were also part of this check register.
Did you mention that we received a separate wire to cover some of that cost? Didn't we, out of the proceeds of the bonds?
We did, so, yes,
Okay.
I did not mention that, but thank you. So,
Would it be reasonable to ask if by going out for the second rating that the improvement we got might have saved us somewhere around the 40,000 it cost? to do
Yeah,
it?
yeah. In fact, we did that analysis early on. It's impossible to know for sure, but we thought it was probably worth at least a couple basis points or more. So do that math and it's at least break even. Better.
actually, technically, our underwriters did that math.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'm glad
Especially
you,
getting the second reading with an upgrade. That did.
it did, yeah, we were.
And I see that we have to maintain that.
Yes, so there will be an ongoing fee to maintain that Fitch rating. I can't remember off the top of my head, it's less than $10,000 a year, I think, if I had to guess, 7 or
It's
so.
not 40,000.
Yeah, it's not. Some of our partners actually negotiated on that with us, so we feel like it will be worthwhile. Fitch has been great to work with as well. Technically, we don't have to have ongoing interactions. But each time there's, been, well, so far there's been one request, to see if we had any updated information and a response wasn't required. I responded and they responded back. So, I mean, I think that's just good for relationships. So it feels pretty good. So that was all I had to point out to you. So I will turn it over to Dale.
I just have one question.
Sure.
On line item 214, Yoss Construction for $15,000. They build houses, don't they? What are we doing with that one?
God, lane.
Yeah, Goff Lane.
What that job was.
214 on page 11.
My mouse.
Is that underground?
Possibly.
No, Greg Yoss just builds houses.
Use construction.
Yoss.
We can find out for you, Dale.
I do not have that top of my
Even if it was electrical, it might be that his kid's doing it, but he builds houses.
Okay, yeah.
It was excavation was the coding,
It
so
must be his kids.
Service or something.
yeah.
Just wondering. And another question I don't know this, but you guys are gonna tell me, franchise fees are based on kilowatt hours sold because these fluctuate from here.
They do fluctuate. Yep, they're based on revenue.
And a couple of them have different rates, so that maybe explain more.
And we negotiate those.
I went back
periodically.
last month to this month, cities fluctuate. That's why it's
It's up to the city. It's
5% max.
Generally,
It's not? Those areas paying that. I thought it was just,
it's 100% assigned to those cities.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, really?
It's negotiable.
Up to the city.
So
Really? I thought it was 5%.
Most
That's,
are.
it's sort of a soft cap. There's a few exceptions to it that they. But we only have, I think, one that's higher than that.
That's correct. I was under the same impression as you, but we recently clarified that with Chad.
Who's the one that's higher?
It's a small municipality of North Coburg.
The strange, Cottage Grove and Crestwood went down and Junction City went up. Must be irrigation.
We are at the point of needing to renegotiate a bunch of those agreements. They kind of come in waves. We're getting close, I think, on Junction City and maybe a couple others and.
I don't know why it goes up.
Well, if we're able to
It's based on
get these IGAs
Well,
going,
the other cities went down.
those franchise fees would go away, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Junction City has a bunch of new construction.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
might work differently depending on how it's structured, with the new customers that would be involved there, we'd have a separate or probably agreement through the IGA to do that. And with our existing customers, it just depends. We'd have to speak, you could either do it separately or you could just incorporate it all into the.
I had a quick question. Number 82, $500 to Lane County Public Works. I just wondered what we were giving them $500 for.
Good one. That's a new one, Patty. So that was a good eye on that. It's for a permit fee.
Oh,
That is new. The state passed legislation last year that allows counties to charge for work in their rights of way. So we are now having to pay $500 when we do new construction. It does not apply to simple pole replacements or maintenance, but if it's a new construction project, they can pay us $500.
So if we're putting in a new pole or as part of a new service, could we pass those fees on to the?
To the customer?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would if it was just for a single customer, but if it's a capital improvement project that benefits the system, then it would be.
Can we pass fees to charge the county when they require us to do stuff?
It would be nice. I will say they were being very aggressive when this first happened. They interpreted the state law much more generally than we did. And so we had to push back with Danell and others through Opuda to say, hey, Lane County, you need to stay in your lane.
Yeah, because most of the other counties didn't say the same.
No, Lane County was the most aggressive, I think, of all of them.
So if we put in 4 poles, would that?
It's just a single fee for whatever the job is, regardless of scope.
Still be 500.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying, Chris and Mark know that obviously we don't want to pay any more than we absolutely have to, so when there's a question, we always check first. Paying.
It did end up being to where we can basically call ourselves out. So if we deem it a maintenance project or something like that, we don't have to pay the fee, but but they want basically $500 for every time, so that's not how long.
So they make us report it to them.
Yeah, it seems manageable.
Yeah, we'll watch
They're
it.
much more manageable, just more money.
Good catch.
Yeah, good question, Patty. And,
I don't have any questions.
I know I did.
right, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay. Residents report. Some organizations. Updates, there's a Opuda Thursday meeting Thursday. Anything new on NW?
Nothing, no, NWPA it's the middle of summer. They're like everybody else, everybody's taking
I think
vacation.
all the trade organizations were off in July.
We don't have our next board meeting until October, so it's quite a ways off. So I did go back and read the minutes from Opuda last month. I know you and I had talked about the changes and your questions about the treasurer. I didn't. Reading the minutes. I mean, one remark that I saw in the minutes was the new treasurer should be a GM because they'll be around longer.
I heard that when they were talking about it.
Was that I'm not sure if that was a backhand
I don't know.
or what.
So-
I remember hearing that. I don't know.
Yeah.
What the gist of. We have since talked as the executive committee and we're gonna be implementing some additional controls because there was concern about having the remains do everything and who's watching what's going on behind the scenes. So I think the plan is to have the full transaction list, kind of like our check register available at monthly meetings so people can see what checks have gone out.
That was in the minutes.
Okay.
It wasn't included, so I appreciated that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just had. Concerns.
Yeah, I want to weigh in on this. I know I have already. Essentially what we've accomplished is we've increased our dues by 50%. And Romaine Freese is not going to be doing more. Other than having an executive director to conduct the meetings and answer the phone. Romaine Freese is actually going to be doing the same amount of work. I don't think they can do more. They've done a wonderful job for us. I've never had any complaints about the work that they've done in the lobby space. But what we basically have done is taken the elected officials completely out of Opuda.
That's an ongoing So there. I'm not gonna be there Thursday, but there's a representative, I'm the designated representative to vote for EPUD.
And I'm the alternate.
And you're the alternate, so hopefully you're there Thursday.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Thursday. So,
So
you know, and
so-
I don't wanna make it sound like I'm all ticked off about it.
Yeah.
It's not, that's not why OPUDA exists. OPUDA exists for the elected officials and our ratepayers. So I think it was just kind of a ham-handed grab. But you know, we're gonna go on our business. We're still gonna have great lobby.
Yeah,
I just don't think we're gonna get that extra $120,000 of value.
it's a good question. I think it's important that this is evaluated going forward to make sure that there is
Let's
a.
see how it works.
Yeah,
Either go.
I'll be there. I mean, it's an
Okay.
important organization
Yeah.
for us.
I will too. I think somehow I got nominated to do the treasury stuff, so.
As the GM, so it's gonna be a difficult training, I'll tell you.
Sarah's job's gonna get a lot easier when you find out how hard it is.
The pay
She thinks I'm just gonna make her do it.
So look out, Sarah, because I think it might get passed on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the writing's on the wall over there.
I could do that too.
I can see that.
We'll see how it goes. I've shared similar concerns, so.
No, and I really appreciate your attitude towards this as we kind of
Yeah.
evolve through this change. You know, I made my thoughts clear, both in the meetings,
Yeah.
you know, I've said this several times now, my big disappointment was that we went through 2 months of strategic planning in late 2024. And no one said anything, and then all of a sudden, in the beginning of the year, it's out the window and we're gonna have a whole new scheme and it, you know, I didn't appreciate the way that that was done. But, and I'll just say this and then I'll shut up. I talked to the delegates from the other utilities and I talked to them very intensively. I said, is this what you want to happen? And they were non-committal. They couldn't say yay or nay. So.
I mean, that's, there's a few board members that are active and a whole lot just go to listen.
I think that
And
has been,
lunch.
that has been a big change at Opuda. And if you go back 5-10 years ago, there was a lot more engagement from their members. I mean, I feel like Emerald has probably the most engagement right now of anybody. And it didn't used to be that way. You used to have Central Link into Tillamook,
Yeah.
very involved, wanted to be in.
That was a surprise to me that Barb kind of went along with this. I think she's getting, you know, she's getting tired too, so.
Well, we don't have to commit forever, so I think, you know, I know other PUVs are hiring their own lobbyists and doing their own legislative things, even despite this. That's something we can always look at down the road, feel like our needs aren't being met.
That's part of the dynamic of this whole thing. That's why I was a little bit surprised that that's kind of led the actually that's gonna be part of the charge. I mean, both North Wasco and Central Lincoln have been going, maybe we'll just leave, you know, if you don't do what we want to do. So, you know, it's.
Yeah, I hope there's gonna be value. We'll have to evaluate that.
Well, I think we'll still have great lobby.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're not gonna lose that.
Yeah.
Worth another 1,000 a year.
We'll find out. Sounds like I just heard today the governor is gonna have a special session next month for transportation, so we'll see if they try to shoehorn anything else in there. The big question has been cap and trade coming back, actually pushed from the right. Northwest Natural and a few others see an opportunity to kind of get rid of the executive order regime that's happened on carbon and move towards something that's a little friendlier in a cap and trade regime. And the thought process is the revenue that generates would go toward transportation. The environmental groups hate that idea. They call it cap and pave because they think it's just going to go toward fossil fuel interests and road
I should
construction.
keep them.
Yeah.
You see the COTEC just issued an executive order for microgrid.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Sure that will.
She doesn't even know what a microgrid is.
Thing, what we're using our engineering degree, right?
Right. It was, I saw a post somewhere and I posted on it, yeah, the devil's in the details.
Think of the
Yeah.
battery since.
The governor not interested in details.
So,
Yeah, sure.
legislative updates that really kind of just.
We just had them.
That was pretty much it. I mean, we got our work cut out for us up there, so that we've got to get about this.
I guess, the board train, Harvick offered to come to one of the meetings. So we'll have some, to try and schedule that now that they're having a session,
Yeah,
short session, that might
yeah, maybe,
put it off till winter.
we'll see how long.
Sorry,
it goes.
I couldn't hear what Kurt said. Who wants to come to a meeting?
Harvick, representative for the McKenzie.
The representative out in the
state
Mohawk Valley and
Gotcha.
Oregon,
Most District 12.
Gotcha. Okay.
actually goes all the way down to Cottage Grove, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of that odd shape, yeah.
Is almost an identical district to the East Lane Commission.
Yeah. He'd be good to get in here. We should try to do more.
Yeah, but I was really impressed with him. We met with him in Salem.
Outside, that's the end of my outside meeting. Oh. So staff reports, jail report.
Okay, we've got, Alicia is gonna talk about some customer communication stuff, so I'm gonna keep mine fairly brief. Wanted to go through a couple topics, so, wanted you to be aware that our leadership team has been busy this year. This is our manager and supervisor group. Alicia has been organizing a number of leadership training sessions for us. It's something we wanted to get to for a number of years, but haven't been able to prioritize until now. We've got a pretty young leadership team. You know, a lot of the supervisors are first time in their roles. Lost a lot of folks that have been here for a very long time when we came in. So we're trying to just sort of take stock of where we're at and see what we can do to continue to develop our leaders. We also have an outside trainer that's been helping us. You probably remember Jennifer. She gave the harassment training to the board a couple times in the past. She's really good. She relates to folks pretty well, so she's been helping. So just an idea of the topics. We've talked about what it means to be a leader at EPUD, how to work effectively with different personalities, how to provide performance feedback. That's a big one that we've been trying to really be more consistent about. How to have difficult conversations and the importance of documentation when it comes to personnel matters. These are in some ways pretty simple concepts, but having uniformity across the team, or at least more consistency, is something that we're really striving to do. We find that when an issue happens, there can be quite a diversity in terms of how it's treated by a particular supervisor or manager. So we're trying to have a kind of a more united front. So anyway, this has been really useful. We're going to continue it in 2025. And next year probably involve more of the organization. We've got as one of our priorities in 2026 to do some succession planning. So we're going to evaluate all the manager roles, all the supervisor roles, try to figure out, do we have internal candidates? Who's interested, who's capable of stepping up and doing those down the road. So should be more to come here on the leadership side. But really happy with how this is going here. Oregon Clean Fuels, everybody's favorite state program. Every years if you don't want to hear about it. So they've run this program since 2016, just for general level setting. The whole concept here is they want to get the carbon out of our fuel mix in the state. And so they allow providers of clean fuels. So electricity providers can get credits for EV charging that happens in our territory. And the folks that pay for those credits are the fuel importers. So the folks that bring fuel into the state will pay a surcharge. And it's based on how carbon intensive that particular fuel is. The market for these credits that we generate a pretty significant amount every year because of all the EV charging that happens in our. The market for those credits has been pretty flat. Tyler from our team watches this on a regular basis, and he saw recently there was an uptick, and he has a plan to clear out our inventory right now for almost $500,000. It's a pretty big number. Wow. We can use this money to keep down next year's rate increase. We can put it into other programs. In the past, we've done some EV charging stuff. We don't have to use it for those purposes. So our plan is just to kind of hold tight with it right now. We'd be happy to talk about other uses if the board wants to, but we thought it was a good time to take advantage of the price uptick that we saw.
John, are they as enthusiastic about capping carbon in Florida as they are here?
Good answer.
So,
Boy, that so far, thank you.
you can see kind of the price curve here over the last several quarters. It was kind of down in the $50-$60 range, and then now recently it's ticked up to we're going to be looking at about $126 a credit, so almost double what we had previously. And
What explains that?
it's a good question.
We're mysterious, we don't know. But we tried to, we reached out, we worked with that third entity on the list there for a long time. Actually, they were the only buyer of our credits.
Really?
And they weren't willing to go any higher than that number that's on the screen. So we're not really seeing any other activity except from these brokers. So the brokers were like just pinging us like crazy last week. And just people that we'd never heard from before and saying, okay,
Kind of a hedge on the California refinery shutdown deal?
maybe there was always talk about the markets getting connected between British Columbia and California and Washington and like having this West Coast wide thing, but I haven't heard any update on that. So I'm not sure.
The state doesn't have any influence. Sorry, Dave.
No, it's fine.
The state doesn't have any influence over what those credits sell for.
Not on the price. What they do is they routinely increase the carbon intensity, or I guess reduce the carbon intensity standard, so that buyers have to buy more credits over time. And so that increases the demand over time, but so effectively that could increase price, but it's been depressed for a couple of years. So it's I don't know, it's kind of mysterious. We're not a better answer for you, but we started to hear from the brokers and we just decided to go for it.
I have a friend in North Texas, she said they're paying $2.14 for gas right now. Half of the one paying.
That's different.
Isn't that amazing? I can't believe that's shit.
So anyway, we'll talk more about it. You'll see this on our financials when we bring in the Q2 review. And if there's a purpose you want to move on, we can do that, or we can just keep it for reserves.
Good to the people.
Help keep the rate increase down for next year.
That's what I would like to see it go for.
Okay, yeah, that's my thought too. We've got a new contract to sign, so as you know, we are switching to the load following product October 1st of this year. That requires a new contract to make it official. We got the thing last week. It's 142 pages, so did not include it in your board packet. Actually didn't have it in time.
I don't like you, Kyle.
Once executed, this is effective October 1st. The standard terms and conditions are largely the same. What's all updated is just the product specific. All the slice block stuff is out and all the load following stuff is in.
Does Chad review that?
Not typically. I mean, this is a federal contract, so even if we found something, they're very unlikely to listen to anything we have to say about it.
Is there any reason we don't want to sign right away?
I don't think we want to have a real back and forth. Our thought process was they want us to sign by September 1st. We can bring it to the board meeting on August 26th for approval. We should get it formally approved before we do that. And we can send it out to you beforehand.
Oh, you're right, that's our next meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about you send it out, then we can vote on it on August 26th?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Okay.
You
We'll do
said
that.
that, I'm sorry.
And you're welcome to,
We'll see who gets to 100.
you're welcome to read through it. I wouldn't recommend it, but,
Starting on the first part?
yeah.
There has been some back and forth over the last 2 months, right? As Bonneville's been building this, they've been sending out exhibits and we've been reviewing them, and Doug's been helping out with some of it and Mitch has been helping out, and so we're providing edits and corrections, and so there's been a bit of a contract dialogue back and forth, but this is the final version, we think, and yeah, at this point, it's kind of pens down, ready to go.
So this is a contract, but what happens in 2 years?
It'll be a new contract.
The contract, and that'll actually be signed by the end of this year, so really within 3-4 months, we're gonna be signing 2 major Bonneville power contracts.
Got it.
One that will cover this interim period for the product switch, and then the second one will be the 20-year deal.
So this will be for 3 years, and then in October 28th, that's when the new one
The
starts.
second contract will incorporate the increases.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'll be a whole different beast because it's the provider of choice, whereas this is the regional dialogue contract, just switching to local follow.
Switch to
Yeah,
be on
that's
twenty,
just-
just,
Yeah,
was it October 28 changeover, is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah. So,
I have a slight question, go ahead.
Yeah.
You finish, go ahead.
no, you're, go.
What do we make of this Cal ISO, lawsuit thing going on? With
Oh,
Western Power Pool? or-
It was probably inevitable.
Is it just noise or? is
Yeah,
there any-
I don't think it goes anywhere. Bonneville followed a public process for 2 years. They had, you cannot accuse them of not sharing information or making
Yeah. Seems hard to believe there's much to
Yeah, and
it.
I don't see
Yeah.
the Ninth Circuit offered them.
It's really Bonneville's business, which, market they choose to join for the benefit of customers. So they tried to sue over the reserve distribution clause that we got 2 years ago. Remember that we received a pretty good amount of money, $1 million or more back because Bonneville had a good water year. They tried to go back and say, well, you should have, this was a different issue, you should have given more to fish and wildlife causes. That was thrown out because Bonneville has wide discretion to make decisions about how they divert their funds and
I
what
see.
decisions they make. And the same concept applies to joining a marketplace.
Got it.
This is within the administration.
Anyways, you never know.
You never know with a judge in the Ninth Circuit, but I really would have a hard time thinking they're gonna weigh in on this. This is not their ballywag. Okay, so with that change also, we have a new TEA contract coming, and Rob's been working with them to get that in place. It substantially changes our relationship, obviously. They will continue to manage scheduling for White Creek Wind and for one of the Halsey Mill customers up there. They've been doing that for 20 years on both fronts. So that will continue. We've also talked to them about a very minimal amount of just market updates so we can kind of keep tracking EPA policies, some of the data and market stuff, just in case, we decide we want additional services or any type of product change in the future. It'll be good to kind of have some tracking of that too. So that's just a quarterly
It's
update.
a way to check our Bonneville reps to see if they're.
Yeah, that
dealing
too.
with straight.
Yeah.
But we have a small payment to California Energy Imbalance Market. What was that?
Yeah, that's on every Bonneville bill now.
Yeah, it's on all the slice customer bills, so.
Those were-
It's the first time I ever noticed.
24 months and we're done with that.
What's that? It's the first time you've noticed it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
Are
like.
we gonna be happy
4
to see
years.
White Creek go away?
Yeah, that's not gone until the end of 27, but yeah, it's.
Pretty good day.
Coming up pretty
Pretty good
quick.
day.
Yeah,
So
maybe we should use a kilowatt before.
we can try to arrange
So
that.
bottle one up and store it on my desk.
You should. So we're not ending our relationship, but it's gonna be dramatically, and you'll see in our budget proposal for this year, TEA costs are down 80+% from where they have been, so this kind of is the fundamental change. They've been good about working with us on this, technically, we had a 2-year notice window we had to provide, did not meet that, but they were still good about working with us and not willing us to that.
It's always hard when a relationship kind of.
It is.
Just.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the only relationship that's changed with DEA.
No, they've had quite a few of these actually the last 7 years.
Pretty rough on their part.
Okay, one item I wanted to flag for you that we haven't talked a lot about in here, but is going to be a hot topic in the region is the residential exchange program. If you've been to PPC or other places, you might have seen this. It's gonna really heat up though the next couple of years. So the residential exchange was actually created in the 1980 Northwest Power Act. And the goal was to mitigate the difference between investor-owned and consumer-owned rates for residential and small farm customers. So at the time, there was a sense that, if you live in consumer-owned territory, you're getting an unfair advantage because their rates are so much lower because of the hydro system. And so as they negotiated the Power Act, they said, well, let's try to find a way to equalize that to the extent that we can. The implementation of this has really been a paper exchange. So there's been bill credits that have gone back and forth where a chunk of our bill goes to pay for a credit on investor-owned utility bills. So if you're a PacifiCorp customer, there's a line item on your bill that says Bonneville rate credit or Bonneville residential exchange. Oh, wow, look at that. Where did that come from?
Jacksonville.
Okay, look at that. We didn't plan this. All right. Thank you, Chris. He's handing me a PacifiCorp bill. There it is, BPA Columbia River Benefits. That's what they call it.
How much is it?
In this case, not much.
This is a vacant house, Jacksonville.
It should, yeah, usually it's
The
more.
rate that, what's our basic rate?
39.
Yeah, there's a $16.
16, but there still was.
Yeah, through the roof.
17 cents.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that the tier one price?
That's Jackson.
That's a price, you know.
That's right.
So, this has not been a topic of conversation because we've been under a 17-year negotiated settlement that was reached back in 2011. You might remember that, Patty. We had a big back and forth with the IOUs, and the attorneys all got and finally came to an agreement on what the payments were gonna look like. That actually ends with this contract. So in October 2028, that settlement is done, and this agreed upon amount that we transfer is gonna go away. I didn't realize this, but the total cost of this program actually makes about 9% of our tier one rate, so it's a substantial cost structure.
Completely going away in the new contract?
Well, the current arrangement is the payment obligation is not, but
Oh,
it's going to be a fight in terms of what that amount is gonna be. Yeah.
It was really contentious in the beginning.
Yeah, I remember that too. So this is just the transfer that has happened each of the last few rate periods here. It's in the, almost $300 million per year that Bonneville is sending over the IOUs. So we're talking about some pretty darn substantial money. I mentioned the settlement's gonna end in 2028. So far, the IOUs have not wanted to negotiate a new settlement. They've been pretty coy about this. Their strategy seems to be that, what they've said is we actually want a price for physical power. And we say that physical power should come with the environmental attribute along with it. They're seeing a lot of value in that right now, obviously, and so they're trying to play hardball. Bonneville is not taking that position. They're gonna argue that there's a way to calculate a fair payment that's laid out in the Power Act that does not involve physical transfer of power, and it doesn't include the environmental attributes. We'll see.
So you're saying the IOUs want the physical electricity?
They're at least making noise like that's what they're gonna ask. They've asked Bonneville for essentially a price quote. So that's inevitably gonna result in litigation on both sides. This is gonna be a big fight for the attorneys. They're all gearing up. For now, the IOUs are arguing they should receive physical power, including the environmental attributes. Public power is gonna argue for the lowest possible legally defensible REP cost. And there's just a lot of arcane language in that act that determines what that cost should look like. But you're gonna be hearing a lot about this if you go to PPC or other places.
what happens to the system capacity if all of a sudden the IOUs are pulling power out of it?
It's a good question. That's why I think it hasn't been really seriously looked at in the past. Bonneville will argue it's not a legally defensible position for them to take.
Wow.
This was interesting. I found this table. This shows the rates that each individual utility is paid. So this stands for average system cost over here. And I'll just note for the record, our friends at PacifiCorp have the highest average system cost of all of them. What they do is they compare the base exchange rate that Bonneville establishes, which is kind of a proxy for like tier one plus some other things. And then there's a surcharge that Bonneville has to pay, the difference between that exchange rate and the system cost. And then that's how it's calculated for the customers that actually end up getting this. So kind of an interesting topic, a little bit behind the scenes, but again, 10% of our tier one rate, this is a big deal, and you're gonna hear about it in public forums here.
40%.
Yeah, they're kind of kicking this one toward the end of the process because they knew it was gonna be very contentious.
20-cent power's right around the corner.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So anyway, that's just a quick preview of where we're headed there.
17.
Last two things, upcoming GM schedule. I am here through next week and then I'm out for a while. Be back on August 21st. If you need to reach me, I'll be in the office on the 25th, but I'll be available as of the 21st. Gonna try to disconnect as much as possible. I will be available if there's an emergency, if something's burning down, but otherwise I'm gonna try to stay as away as I can. With vacations happening with our staff, it's hard to find a single person to be in charge the whole time. So we've kind of landed on a little schedule here. So Kelly's gonna take the first week, Sarah will have the second, and Lisa will have the third. My recommendation, if you're wondering who to talk to, Wendy can help direct traffic and get you to the right person. So I contact her if you really need something in the room. Hopefully it'll be a quiet August with
Only people that would budget are these people.
that's.
We won't even fix it.
I'm hoping we'll all enjoy a nice calm August and clear skies, no fires.
Sounds to me like Lindy's in charge the whole.
Yeah, you figured out the order chart.
He's a gatekeeper, that's for sure. We will next get together over a month from now, August 26th. We're gonna look at the investment policy. We'll have a safety program review, just talking in general about what we're doing on safety. Hopefully a short mountain update, been sending you some emails around that. I'm hoping after our next meeting, Monday, we'll have some more to share there. Rob's gonna continue to work that in my absence, and Chad is kind of obviously on point to help with facilitation there too. We'll talk about sponsorship and donation guidelines, kind of look at what each area is doing, and if there's more we could be doing in certain areas that we're not. And then we'll have the load following contract be approved there as well. We'll miss you all for a long break here in the summertime, but then we'll all be back together.
You leaving town?
Yeah, we're going on a nice long vacation. Good. Out of the country, so.
Oh, that'll be
Yeah.
great.
Leaving Trump land.
Hopefully they'll let us back in.
I go too.
Anyway, thank you for that. I'm gonna have Alicia come and do the communications review here.
Okay, so I know we are on a tight timeline here, so I'll keep this short. We just wanted to recap what we.
You didn't have to dress up so much.
I forgot my time. Okay, so we didn't, or we wanted to go over our Q2 communication. So basically what we put out in power lines and in social media. And then a quick, little update on what we're gonna be talking about in Q3. So, power lines, we spent in April, May, and June, we talked about our scholarship winners. The Green Grant Program opened up. Kyle had his Part 5 manager's method on the power supply system. We did the free heat pump water heater promos that we were talking about earlier, so some education on that. And then we always have that standard tree location communication about what areas we're gonna be in. So that's always consistently in power line, so you'll see that each month. In May, we talked about National Electrical Safety Month and provided some tips. We did an update on the requirement for credit cards, CVVs. We had previously communicated that it was gonna only apply, I believe it was to new payment setups and not existing ones, something along those lines, and we had to do a clarification on it. So there was a piece on that. We did some, a little highlight on Bring Your Kids to Work Day, and then we did a Meet the Team and highlighted our energy services team. And the tree locations, we reminded people about the Green Grant, and we reminded people about enrolling for equal pay, because there is a time period in which you can enroll. I can't remember, Kelly might remember off the top of her head what time the equal pay timeline is, but there is a window of time, so we wanted to make sure and get people information on that. And then we wanted to start some messaging on Lane County emergency alerts as well, and encouraging people to sign up for that. And then in June, we started talking about wildfire season, so we started providing info and resources. In there again, we did another update on Lane County emergency alerts. We also provided some tips on other resources to follow. So like, we're not gonna provide evacuation notices, but here's where you can go to find that information out. So we put that in there. We did a little bit of info regarding our empowering programs. So we have job shadows and scholarships, and we wanted to just continue to promote those as well. We highlighted the ductless heat pump promo. We did the tree locations. We talked just a real short little update on the EV level 2 charger rebate. So just a reminder that that's out there, and another reminder about the equal pay. And then also just a reminder that we have a payment extension option out on Smart Hub for customers so that they can utilize that. And that can help reduce the number of calls coming in for people if they're falling behind. They have the option to go resolve that themselves. Not every customer is eligible, but we wanted to make sure and get that information out as well. So that's what we covered in power lines. We did do a special bill insert in Q2 as well, and that was regarding our customer survey that we did. So we wanted to try and get everyone's attention and call that out. So we did just a little reminder that, hey, we're doing the survey, your opinion matters. You could win $500 gift card, and then a link to the survey to get people to take it. And as you know, we had a lot of people take it, so it was a really good success. I'm not sure if it was all because of the spill blizzard, but it was.
It's $500.
It was the $500. Yeah, so, we're gonna be announcing that here, probably in the upcoming power
Oh,
lines.
okay.
Still there.
Yeah.
Haven't lost you.
I haven't
Yeah,
lost.
yeah. And then for social media, similar, you're gonna find a lot of the same themes here. We did, a lot of the same topics. However, in April, Dale and Kyle went to the, Beeper Show. Is that what it's, yeah?
We're doing it again on Tuesday.
Yeah, so we highlighted that out on social media. We announced that the customer survey was opening up. We did that promo for the heat pump water heaters and the green grant. We announced our empowering scholarship winners, just like we did in Power Lines, but we did an individual post, if I remember right, for each of the winners. We highlighted National Lineman Appreciation Day, so we were able to put a post out there with all of our lineman pictures. That was always well received. And then we shared a little bit more about who we are as an organization by sharing some of the stuff that we did on Bring Your Kids to Work Day. And that was another fun opportunity just to let people of the community know who we are and that there's a personality or people behind the organization. And so that got a lot of likes and comments as well. And then in May, kind of along those same lines, we did an announcement about a long-term lineman retiring, and that got a lot of response as well. That was fun to see customers and just members of the community joining in and congratulating him on the long time that he worked here for us. And we were sad to see him go for sure. So that was a fun post. And then we did some information on generator safety. That was tied to a planned outage that we had. So we took that as an opportunity to communicate that as well. We were alerting customers to some scams out there, phone door-to-door scams, just keeping people informed. Promoted the manager's message. We announced the Memorial Day and just announcing that we were closed. And then we had 2 job postings for an engineering technician, which is still currently open at this point, and then an accounting technician, which has just been filled. So, and then in June, we did an alert about straw or hay on the power lines. Since that does cause outages this time of year. Another reminder on Lane County emergency alerts, and then just a reminder about that engineering technician job posting. Okay, I'm gonna keep us moving. So donations, sponsorships and events, kind of a quiet quarter as far as what we've done this time around. So we had the Bohemia Mining Days. We increased our sponsorship to $1,000 for that one. And then we did the Bonita banner sponsorship, and we did the glass benefits by the glass event out in Bonita. We did a table sponsorship at the Crestwell Community Banquet and Awards, and then we attended that as well. And then we attended the Tri-County Chamber dinner auction. And then out in Mohawk, we did a gift basket, energy efficient gift basket. So that we provided. And then here's a picture from Tri-County, my recognized face there, so. You were there? I don't have any pictures of it, so, yeah. This was all that mattered, so, yeah. Okay. And then I will say on the events side of it, summer, we have a lot of events, so, and then the fourth quarter in December, we have a lot of events too, so you'll see a little bit more activity during those updates as well. And then the last thing, just real quick, some things that we're gonna be talking about in the upcoming quarter. We're gonna be, we currently are doing the voting on the Green Grant finalists. Promoting signing up for Green. We'll have another general manager message. We'll talk about some of our summer events. We're gonna do some promotion on energy services like the Nest thermostat. Talk about high temperature safety, any kind of scams that are happening with customers. We want to keep them informed. We've got Cybersecurity Month and Emergency Preparedness Month coming up, so we'll try to provide some information on those. We're gonna do more highlighting on Smart Hub and the different features, and so probably payment arrangements will be another focus on there. And then Public Power Week is gonna be coming up. So one of the things that we'll start doing is in September, we'll announce what we're gonna be doing in recognition of Public Power Week, because it actually happens the first week of October. So if we wait to communicate information in October, the people who are in cycles 2, 3, 4, it's too late. They get the information after the fact. So we'll be communicating that in September. that'll include information like a game that we usually do, any kind of events that we're doing. We are planning on another coffee giveaway as well, so. And then we wanna keep in mind, anything that we're doing with budget or rate increase, we're probably gonna need to start talking to customers about that as well during this quarter. And then on there more just the energy services problems as well. So. Did I keep to the time limit?
That's perfect. You guys back on time.
All right. Hey,
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. I think it's her birthday today too, isn't it?
no, it's tomorrow. It's my husband's today.
Happy birthday.
You gonna sneak out at some point.
You guys have consecutive days birthdays?
Yeah, and my father-in-law's also on my birthday as well. And Wendy's son is on my birthday as well.
So with two, also one, the younger daughter was born on her sister's birthday the next year.
Oh, really?
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
My sixth birthday present was a brother.
Oh, boy.
I already had 5 of them.
Well, your odds are better than hitting on one of them. All right, well, the next thing is an overview of our fleet program. And Jason Rice, our fleet manager and facilities supervisor, you wanna come up here and do the overview for you?
Hello?
Some of this goes to a recent question around the sort of the age of our fleet, giving an update on how things are going. And then Jason's also gonna give you a sense of how we're managing fleet today. He's got a really kind of cool software platform that he uses to do that. Yeah, they could use some better branding, but.
It's not Fleet Shield.
No, Fleetio.
It's
Yeah.
getting close to something.
Yeah.
else.
Fleetio is how we pronounce it. Wait, take it away.
Yeah, just wanna give an overview, it's like, I guess Kyle kinda did a good job of that, but you guys get to sign a lot of forms, a lot of budget stuff, you would see, things 2-3 years ahead of schedule and all that kind of stuff, so was trying to give you guys an idea of the wonkiness and how we deal with this stuff. And just trying to highlight what Jason does. Jason wears a lot of hats. He's got Short Mountain, he's got fleet, he's got the facility. And last month we kind of highlighted Chris and the joint use, what he's done. So, but just gonna show you kind of behind the scenes a little bit. And this Fleetio is kind of how it's kind of using some technology that's gonna help us do a better job at that. So.
Over now.
Over, okay.
All right, here, wanna kind of establish some of our fleet replacement guidelines and. So here we have our service bucket trucks for foreman serviceman rigs for every 7 years. Those are high use, high impact, we need it now. Don't have time to wait to fix this or that all the time, and those are. Usually get a lot of miles and run time on them.
Would you say 30,000 miles a year is what you would drive?
Yeah, or put 30,000 miles a year, so amazing. That's the shortest turnaround. Seems like we just get done, specking a truck, getting it, and a couple years goes by and you're back in the process. For that same one.
How many of those do we have?
Got 12.
And some of them, you'll see later, but you'll see that that's our guideline. You're gonna see some that go longer than that, obviously.
So it's about 2 a year.
Yep,
Yeah,
pretty much.
we got 2 on tonight's agenda to approve.
Yeah, the Digger Derricks, 15 years. Line bucket trucks, 15 years. Tree trimming bucket trucks, also are 15 years. Equipment, excavator, forklifts, mowers, also on that 15-year timeline. In my time here at EPUD, all those 15-year items used to be 20 years. And it got to a point on the maintenance side and on the operational side of conflict, issues. And so it was kind of, as a company agreed upon, that like, let's ratchet that down to a step that's manageable for the business that we're in and what we do. Light duty pickup trucks, pool car, everything in that kind of realm. In general sense, 10 years, it kind of depends. Again, like Mark said, these are all on schedule, and every year, we will look at ones that, hey, we need to take a look at this. It doesn't get used as much, or this is used so much and having a lot of issues with it. So that could be, changed, but I've seen, our meter reader, vehicles just, barely even make it that long, so. So for those vehicles, on an average for our odometer readings, we got service buckets at 115,000, digger derricks at 92, line buckets 95, tree trimming 95 or 92, equipment 2,500 hours, and pickups at 105. I guess I don't, everything here are somewhere between it just got here to, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. Our older piece, like we've talked about is our old dump truck. It's 1988. It fits the need. If it were to be down for a little period of time to do some work, that could be done. It's the other main piece of equipment that we don't have time for it to be gone and either in our shop or at Bratton or Peterson, for a month and a half, or it just seems like when something goes there, they're not working on it right away. It becomes an issue, so.
What comes also with that too is, like, we have truck 56, which is a digger derrick truck that's 1997. So although these are our guidelines, we're also being very thoughtful, right? We're not just going, oh yeah, because you'll see later we have guidelines that go on and what we should do with the 88. It's a great Peterbilt for what we need it for. It's perfect. There's no sense in changing it out. Guys like it, runs good. So that's kind of where we're at with
Wouldn't
that.
have anything older than our youngest employee.
Right.
Yeah, there's for the stuff, I know, at the Eugene Sand Gravel, places like that, Wildish, versus just a little quarry up. It's a difference between your 980 that you just kind of keep around and you can get by, but when you're in the production and things matter and you're on contracts, you don't have time to be messing with issues, and so you gotta keep up. So that's the philosophy I been with and have been instructed with EPUD.
So our company, Eugene Sand Purchasing Corporation, they had a rule. Still do, you don't get 150 hours on a piece of equipment. It's out of there, you can't keep it, you have to put it on Iron Planet. So if you have 2 paving crews, then you have a paver that's 20-some years old but works, but it sits almost all the time, except when you really need one. If you don't get the 150 hours, it goes. So you learn to rotate. So you get, that's just one. There's all kinds of theories on it. Equipment. So this is interesting to me. And I'm sure you turn your stuff every 5 years, right?
Kind of hard to say. So here, last year, modified or put together a 10-year fleet, based off of, those numbers I just gave you with the vehicles. Putting that into a spreadsheet, piece of equipment that we have, and, okay, every 7 years, every 10, 15, whatever it is, and then this is what it looks like laying out throughout the years by those numbers. So over here, I have the next 10 years of what's scheduled, so myself and Mark and Kyle, we look at this every year, but things need to get shuffled or moved, or maybe we'll get something a little early, push it off a little late, because we may have a big budget year this year, but something smaller next year. The numbers do go up through time as we go through. So like right now in 2026, those vehicles are, in process. For 25, those things have already been cleaned up and already in motion. And then for 26, those have already, some vehicles have been moved around, either pushed out a little bit. So now some of these serviceman rigs, about 3 of them, we've pushed to an 8-year mark. So that's something we want to do all the time. So we're kind of playing with numbers here and seeing how things work. So there's a lot of dynamics, not just besides just the operation of the vehicle, the functionality of it, the safety of it, testing, but also the operator, the user. This is, they're in it day in, day out. It's their office as well.
Question, like your service trucks, you get a new just truck chassis and put the crane
or you get everything?
We've looked into that.
I was wondering, I just.
Yeah, we looked into that. So we got really weird wonky numbers. Alltech gave us a crazy number, so of more money than it cost to build a new one. It blew my mind. So to go buy a brand new F-550, pull out the old boom and chassis, give it a paint job, you know, re-decal it, let's say go through the boom cylinders and all that. We got a really crazy number of like 140,000, and yet we were paying 136,000 for a brand spanking new. It made no sense at all. Then we kind of had them come back to us, and then it came in around 90,000, which was at least something you'd look at. And it's not out of the realm of things, but there are certain of those service rigs that we could do that. And that would be, say, like an on-call rig that doesn't get a lot of boom hours. You might just pull a chassis out, but as far as, by the time we get these things, you gotta think about, 7-8 years on them, 30,000 a year, they're over 200,000, and then you got all the boom hours, the PTO hours, those things running up and down. So there's quite a lot of uses.
And I'm sure as you adjust your intervals, you're looking at trend analysis. That's the main thing.
I have not myself in 20 years of seeing how this works and rotation and watching them. The boom swap, it is an option, but like I said, it was almost as much as buying another one. There's so much labor involved and and there's a lot of liability. One shop is not gonna wanna do another brand thing because there's just so much liability. You touch it, that one is yours now. So if this was my only vehicle and it was my personal shop, or, I could do that, but from this standpoint, I'd have to look at it a little closer. But it is an option. We have gotten quotes, so. Here, I just scrolled through, you're going down to 2032. The column on the very far right, the numbers do just kind of seem to go up. Again, these are projections, and there's things on there that, like a back trailer was on there right now in 2026. And that's something that we're not gonna put on there, but by the 15-year timeline, it shows up, so. This little list, this is kind of small at the moment, so the vehicles that run out of the 10-year, 7-year, 10-year, or 15-year mark, I gotta get them out of this scheme, or else it messes up your formula. So you gotta get them out, and then all these vehicles get looked at annually. Do we wanna keep it? Do we wanna keep, like the second piece, so.
So a perfect example, just stop there for a second, 1813. It's our spirits, it's called a spare. It's basically our on-call rig. So the guys who are planning their on-call, the foreman, warrants, whatever, they'll take that rig for the week or the 4 days. And so that being a 2018, 18 indicates the year it's in service. It has 101,000 miles on it. Dylan's truck, which was my old truck, is 1812, has over 160 some thousand miles on it. So as you can see, we don't need to change that out in 7 years. So we're gonna put that kind of in another category and try to be real conscientious with our money.
Jason, go back to that previous. And read that bottom line there. 10-year grand total.
10-year grand total, 11 million is in today's dollars. And 14 million is in 3% increase every year.
So you would annualize that at 1.4 million a year then?
You could, but I mean, that's where we're trying to be real conscientious. So some of these are plugged in numbers that may not, actually happen, like 1813's in there, we're gonna start taking that kind of stuff out. And the other thing is too, you'll see some years that they're abominably low, 200 some $1,000. That's not real. So we need to move things up or down to try to somehow keep that wave from happening. But there's going to be times where things reach end of life and there's a bunch of them. Like,
We've experienced that.
Yeah.
Got a side coming up though.
I think originally we put the 10-year forecast together many years ago. We were thinking about like 600 grand
Yeah.
a year, maybe would be a good target.
I remember those numbers.
That's not, that's not.
That's one truck
Yeah.
and a pickup.
We haven't factored in the tariff increases yet either.
Yeah, we have.
3% is probably optimistic.
Yeah.
Hey, so I have an example here. So this is our newest digger derrick that showed up. This is our truck number 2420, the Terex Commander 5550 digger. on a Western Star chassis. Combined, $461,000. We procured the chassis ourselves. And then, the Terex digger, we sent the chassis to Terex. The vehicle that this is replacing was truck 50. And here, so it's 2007. So here you can see back then, its chassis was 85,000, and Altech digger portion of the unit was 132 for 218,000. This is your, a difference of what a truck cost, in 2007 versus right now. This is what it is. So, when you have one truck, there's almost $500,000 that eats up your little fleet budget real fast. There's a lot, but so truck 50, it doesn't. There are differences in the vehicles, but they still have all-wheel drive. They still has all the key things, but things got more expensive. I got more plastic on it, got Bluetooth, just things in general with vehicles. And I'll leave it at that just a minute. So on that truck, I just want to point out, so March in 2022, we initiated the specification process, which involved determining the appropriate chassis configuration and the digger manufacturer, model, and available options. At that time, Altech projected that a timeline to get a digger would be beyond 2028. This is in 2022. That's just a lead time that we've never even heard of. So then the Terex had offered that they were able to deliver in 2025 for the like model of what we were replacing. So that's one reason that we went to Terex, but we also did get comparisons. Price wise, they were roughly the same. So that's back in fall of 22 when we requested board approval for future budget expenditures. Then the final purchase order in 2022 was confirmed, and we had a delivery of 2025. So both for myself and Mark, this was our first full truck build. There's just a lot of moving pieces, a lot of research, a lot of matching things up. These trucks are so uniquely configured, and it's not just off the shelf. And so for myself, that was my first one I've done completely, and with Mark. Previous to my role, when I worked in the shop, I wasn't really a part of the truck ordering process. The fleet manager then did that himself with others, and I just wasn't part of it. So it was a big learning curve for me, but I was proud of this truck on what we did to get it here, because we dealt with COVID and everything going through that. So that truck just came in late spring here, and it's out there on the job now. So this is that truck. The truck.
Nice looking truck.
Anyway,
Congratulations on your first one.
first one.
Yeah, so this can be the next slide video for the. So just want to let you know where we're coming from, right? So this is E-Put Old School. Each truck has its own little deal and all the records, handwritten notes and stuff like that, you see. And that's how we would identify problems, service records. You didn't write it down. You went over whatever, and had to get a difference. Yeah. So anyways, so what he's gonna show you real quick, we wanna get the.
Those are original.
It is original, so that one there specifically is truck 50 that just rolled out.
Oh, wow.
I showed you, my signature is on there on checking off or whatever it is, but this was all of our services.
Yeah.
And then if something, you change a clutch, or whatever it is, and all that document. This was pretty much the extent of documentation back in the day, and that's what I was raised upon here.
Didn't you have a sign up sheet though too?
Yeah.
The lines you would write down, hey, got a problem.
People just go to the shop and a notepad, and taillights out. So now, E-Put adopted T-shirt. So Fleetio is a fleet management software program, and E-Put adopted it in 2021. Got kind of commissioned early 22 when I became in this role. Fleetio was kind of up and running, but it really wasn't. And so between then and now, I've been making a push to get things going, get it documented, get it reading. It connects with, works with GPS Insight for our tracking, and it imports our odometer numbers, which are very important for keeping track of, what's due next in your services. A lot of getting employees implemented in here as far as contacting all of our vehicles when you buy a vehicle. Putting all the PO, the invoice, the documentation that you just get in the purchasing process will all get uploaded, and it'll be a part of this.
Yeah, in the past, you used to have to rely on line crew or whoever's driving to punch in your odometer, correct?
That's pain.
Oh,
Okay, so here we're, is this the one where the next one? So, with Fleetio, we can track issues, so issues being a problem, whatever someone would write down. Got an engine miss, there's nail in my tire, whatever it is, through an iPad, iPhone, or at a computer, you can select your vehicle and basically make your own ticket really quick, and then it gets populated to, I get the alert, the shop does, and it's on a list. So that's how you report issues. There's inspections that are done, could be boom tests, could be your daily inspections. And then you find something wrong, you can check the box and automatically creates a job and gets put on a list. So that's for our daily inspections. Being able to catch an issue before, it's going down the road, you see a truck going down the road, there's something, flopping outside of it, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, how'd they not notice that's there? So doing inspections like this is try to catch issues before we get out on the road. From the safety standpoint to just knowing what you have and getting information to the shop. Because the shop will pretty much only look at a vehicle when it goes in for an oil change or a scheduled thing. Other than that, we're not looking at it. It's up to others that are using it to report deficiencies. So here with Fleetio, a maintenance reminder, service logs. If Mark wrote something up on his vehicle, the shop could say, hey, was that the right tire or left tire? I mean, there's direct communication that can happen through this program that's separate than a phone call or a text. The managers of, whoever is a part of this group will also get these notifications. This one right? Just click it, like hit enter.
keep it all. You have to balance the body parts. Make this cross off. Right. Or bike voice. Must be paper form, old school soft. Why help that? We're a free optimization button. Designed to drive capability into every part of your operation, all in one place, so you can focus on the one thing that really matters. Optimize your fleet. Look ahead. The fleet is about.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
That processes that preventive maintenance in a whole lot of safety.
Video strict.
Very good. To get back out of this one, maybe.
Just click back on,
Just exit out of that window.
yeah, just hit that. I think you'll have to go to volume too.
We're talking, so if you get an engine light come on, it automatically tells you there's an engine light. The driver doesn't have to tell you that, does it?
I don't think so. I mean,
It'll report, GPS Insight will report the diagnostic code to Fleetio
From the ECM.
and ECM. And so there's that, and then engine hours.
Yeah, the reports.
So if I hear thump, or somebody hears a thump, thump, thump or noise, they report that electronically to you. So this is the dashboard of what Fleetio looks like, vehicle statuses. In this case where it says open issues on the top, it's 88, that's the list that would be in the shop of what's to do, that's the to-do list. The service reminders, 31, vehicle assignments, we have 78 that have an actual assigned operator, and then 26 that are unassigned trailers. Yeah, there's a variety of equipment that's kind of everybody's. On here, comments of how things are going back and forth, and then meter reads. Here, there's a vehicle list of everything we have in the fleet, so there's 104 on this one at the moment. A lot of information just from model number, serial numbers, what it is, where did you buy it, how much was it?
Here's our replacement year. This gives us some of the guidelines.
Replacement year, so there's a lot of data input that I put in on the front end. That either used to go to a file or just wasn't a thing, so. It's a lot of information that we didn't used to have, always wanted to have, but, and then if I need to send you something, I have a digital form that I can send the shop, or if there's an insurance accident or something, I have data that I can put together easily and send it off versus what, we had before. Going back, if I just click on one of these vehicles here, this is what would come up. So I clicked on our newest digger, the 2420. In the very top left kind of shows this basic information about the mileage, whose it is. The open issues in the middle are running the list of what we need to do. There's a few upfit listings to do. Last known location. And then on the very kind of the middle all the way across where it says overview, issues, specs, there's a lot of individual tabs that have financial information. I can look at all the previous service history, all the old jobs we've had. So a lot of documentation that we never had before, other than, all of this here, and you have one sentence. So here you have more information to go with it. This is just a list of service reminders. They're fleet wide. So from basic oil changes to 50,000 mile level changes to tire rotations to boom inspections to flipping the digger rope to anything that needs to be on schedule gets on schedule, and it's either by mileage or time. So when it comes time, I get a list, the shop gets a list of what's, the oldest job out there, and, trying to work on those first. So that's something that is easily looked at that we never had that capability before. A variety of reporting that we can do on, tell me everything, I want to see everything you got in your fleet and everything you know about it. Or maybe I want to see all the vehicles in your fleet, but I don't care about the license plate or, who drives it. I just want to know the VIN or model. So a lot of configuring they can do and then upload for reporting. And then I'm still learning other reports of what his capabilities are. Quickly, how many line buckets do we have? And what are they? How many, tree crew vehicles and equipment do we have? How many pool cars? And then I can look at that, how many F-150s with the drivers, who's engineering, who's, what is, you're able to see more in one spot. In a general sense of what Fleetio does is for preventive maintenance planning, the DVIR, driver's vehicle inspection report, compliance tracking, reporting tools, which is the issues, the clipboard in the shop reporting, then just your asset life cycle management, the mobile work orders and inspections, like on your phone or your iPad to do your inspection in the morning. The network for the maintenance shop network, it's we don't really use that part. If you were a nationwide company and you had somebody in Boulder, Colorado do your work, you could have that shop import your stuff. So you might have Kindle do something like that. It's kind of a really quick go at you. The answer any questions, show you, I can't show you a live version right now, but you want to see something,
We pay an annual subscription for this.
Yes.
yeah,
9,000 a year.
9,000 a year-ish, somewhere in there, yeah.
It's reasonable compared to some of our other subscriptions.
It's really not bad. They're getting a lot of value. Jason in particular has just been huge on driving this. We were kind of using it at first, but then he's really got everybody all in. It's making a difference.
Isn't the vehicle inspection, daily inspections, that's law for CDL, we're gonna be in compliance now.
We're working on that.
We're working on it.
Yeah, most people using it. We're working on.
The Line Crews are,
Yeah.
so next week, or the Line Crews, so the other.
Make it easy for them.
Yeah, we've started off the substation, now we're going to tree, and we're trying to work out any and all bugs. And
Just to get the lineman want it perfect first time.
yeah, because if you get a group that doesn't like it, it's.
Just want it to be as easy as possible.
No, it is really.
Players not using it, it's not really.
Yeah.
Never comparison.
So our vehicles have a bigger on, or
Yeah, they have a little device.
Yes.
GPS track.
We can see it. We have an outage map internally, so you can see it was on it.
She got one on yours?
Yeah, yeah, we put one on yours.
This one, I just got looking at
you
it.
gotta leave your phone someplace else and then go do what you're gonna do.
So you can, anyway, you can see this is gonna, as we roll it out, we're gonna really ring it out and really get a lot of stuff out of it. It's got a lot of options. As you can see, some of those items were 3 months behind on some of those things. That's what happens when you have a 3 to 4 mechanic shop for the 104 pieces of equipment and you have 2 mechanics. So if you can, we're farming stuff out, but it's super difficult. But we'll be taking care of that when Short Mountain people come in-house, we'll be able to man that back up.
Yep.
Since we started logging jobs in video, 2022, we've had 1,100 jobs. Just big jobs from changing camshafts in the engine to changing the fuel cans to tire rotations, not tire rotations, but repairing a tire, light bulb on the tail light, trailer, little things and big things. It all gets put in there. So it's nice to see because we do a lot of things here and it gets lost in on the list of being able to know what you did. So very helpful tool. I'm very excited to use it and it's been a pretty good program. I don't have anything else to compare it to, but also back when I was in the shop, we didn't have anything like this. Even in the military, we didn't have this.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, so
Can't even read half the writing.
these are, yeah.
I've got Wilson's names on a bunch of that.
Oh, yeah. So, all these vehicles here have my name on. Those are all. That's all I have, so thank you.
Great job, Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good work.
Sorry about the video.
It's
Oh,
very.
when you can submit, that's fine. Okay. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't like it?
That worked out better things.
That was, I think that was an ad for a later agenda.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah, we have 2 bucket trucks.
Ad for this.
Yeah. 2 service buckets coming later.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So, your wage.
Yeah, so we have 2 more items, so I think these will both move fairly quickly. This is just a FYI, no decision being asked for here tonight, but I'll run through a little presentation. Alicia's here too, if you have specific, she did the analysis on this. So just going back to some history, in 2022 and 23, in the midst of all the COVID inflation, we found ourselves behind market for most of our positions. And that was based on some regional utility data that we had surveyed. We all know kind of where it came from. To help us catch up, we did a couple of adjustments when we were doing our annual January 1st COLA. We did a standard COLA and then we had an extra market wage adjustment that factored in there to kind of get us back. It was a little imprecise, but it did help us keep up with rising industry wages at the time. Last year, we took a slightly different approach. We did a single COLA on January 1st, and then we put some money in the budget to do an additional adjustment if warranted. We called it a mid-year adjustment. It was actually later in the year. We did the analysis in October and implemented something after the board approved it November 1st. The goal in doing that was to improve it, improve the process. We had new data sources, so instead of just doing an informal survey, we're now using a well-known industry standard, the Milliman Northwest Utility Survey. Gets us away from doing this, phone call thing every time we have to do one of these. And then position by position analysis was also new. Previously, we called for some positions and we sort of made some assumption for others, but this was in using the Milliman data, a way to break it down really for every single position we have, kind of where they stood versus market. And the new data would allow us to true up positions mid-year if we had undershot the COLA. And the thought process here, as you all know, is that we do our adjustment January 1st, but almost every other utility in the area adjust their wages after that point. So they have union contracts that get typically adjusted sometime in the spring. And that's why we're constantly behind when we try to make an estimate of what the wage increase should look like. We wanted to use several things. So again, I mentioned the Milliman survey data. This is kind of how we ran the process again this year. So for non-lineman positions, we focused on Milliman survey data. We tried to target, roughly the 75th percentile. That's kind of been a historic, benchmark for us. And we also used local utility data for lineman positions. We find the most accurate data is just to survey the 6 local utilities because that's kind of the job market when it comes to Lane County around here. We also have to look at things like internal alignment. So, if you're comparing a journeyman lineman to a tree lineman or a tree trimmer or a line foreman, they all have an indirect relationship or correlation that we have to take a look at. We have wage scales. We have to keep, certain distance between jumps and steps and ranges. And we also look at our current and recent hires. If we've had a successful recruitment, we may not want to adjust wages right away either. Okay, so that brings us to what we found here in 25. We only found one position this time that was not lineman related that was due for an adjustment. That is, by our criteria, which is more than 10% off the benchmark. That was for an equipment operator. So we recommend making that adjustment effective sometime this year. Would really be fairly immaterial to our budget, but that's the only one. Last year we had a handful of these non-lineman wages that were brought in and asked for one. The lineman wage is an interesting one. This is kind of what we want some feedback around. After starting the year in first place, purposefully we tried to position ourselves at the top. We've slipped down to 4th after all these other utilities have adjusted. The gap is not real wide within that, and I'll show you a graph in just a second here. So this is where we stood as of January. Again, we got out ahead of this, knowing that all these other utilities were going to adjust wages.
That bigger, Kyle?
Yeah, let me see what I can do. So,
Wrong one.
go back. Really big. I don't know why I did that.
Computers perform inverse to the amount of people watching over the other.
I could definitely do what you're asking. Here we go. All right. This is going to be on the fly. So
We already knew that.
let's do that.
There's a lot of trouble. Good carry.
Still not very good.
What's the highest and lowest number? What's
68.
What's the lowest?
Well, that was of January.
Well, we know the range, that's all I'm
Is
after.
that better? So we were up at 65 and that put us a couple dollars ahead of the next lowest.
Okay.
Next highest. So where we're at today,
He's all changed since January 1st, but us.
yeah, so I mean, most of them are just what, April, May time.
April, May, and June are, June was the latest. Typically, we don't see June. It's mostly April and May, but since the pandemic, there's been some unusual changes. We've seen some as late as September even. So
So we said,
not as consistent as it was before with it just being April and May.
so January, when you said 65 is the benchmark, none of these other, well, actually, all those guys did their adjustment.
Yeah.
And now they did their
And
adjustment.
that's why we got so far ahead, is because we knew they were going to adjust, so we purposely went higher. We just didn't quite shoot, I mean, it depends on your target, and that's what we wanna talk about.
Pretty good shape.
Yeah,
So
Well, I don't know, it's almost like an arms race.
exactly what it is.
Lashley called us in February and said, oh shit.
that's
It's all
exactly,
designed to ratchet against each other.
that's exactly what I said
That's
too,
what,
yeah.
do they
Somebody
use,
used to say,
when we do it January, do the others call us up and,
Some of them,
or find
least
out
one.
what it is, and they say, well, geez, we better, so we'll be creating
Yes,
an inflationary wage by doing it in June.
I believe the only one that changes it in January might be Blatchley. The rest I'll have a different time frame if I remember right. But at least one in there specifically waits until all of the information is and then takes the average to try and determine what theirs is gonna be. But yes, what you're describing is exactly what's happening.
It's like playing the Price is Right. Somebody comes in, you say $60.01.
exactly, yeah.
It's amazing how close.
So you
I
see
really
the-
like the idea that we stay at the 75th percentile as we have.
Mhm,
Now keep it simple there, guys.
yeah,
Based on dollars or based on in line?
75th percentile of across the board.
so that would be, so in the case of like this view of the six, that would be somewhere in the, second or third slot, basically.
Right.
What's wrong with being the first? What's?
It's always a moving target, I mean, that's.
Yourself.
Depends on which side of the paycheck you're
Yeah.
signing. Well, you gotta understand, this graph pretty much dictates part of success. What they do, the light curve is a very important part of this.
So let's talk about options here. So the first question is the target, and we've historically tried to be at the 75th percentile when benchmarking to regional data. Our change to using the local market for lineman wages requires some clarification. So we said last year we wanted to be at the higher end of the six, and that put us up right at the top. But you can interpret that in different ways. And so options would be, we want to be the absolute leader in pay, meaning we want to be the top of the six. It could mean we want to be the 75th percentile, which is the second or third highest. It could be the upper half, which is kind of where we're at right now. We're kind of right in that
I
middle
think
zone.
you also can't disclose.
That's true, yeah,
We have to look at total compensation.
What?
We have to look at total
Yeah.
compensation.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And that's something we can put some more numbers around. It's historically difficult to compare exactly, but we can do some more work
How
on that.
much your IBEW dues? I mean, those come off. of
That's
that
true.
page.
That's true,
We're
yeah.
the only ones.
So that's the argument I would say to,
Yeah.
if you want to target
Yeah.
a 75th percentile-ish, that would be one argument. It's not the
It
whole
appears
equation.
to, yeah, I'm sorry, Kyle, I
Yeah,
know
go ahead.
I'm interrupting, I have my bad habit.
Oh, you're fine.
We're the stalking horse, cause we come out on January and everybody's, oh,
Right.
we need to just change, the hell with this, just change it to when everybody else does it, that way
We can do that
everybody,
too.
that way everybody's blind.
Yeah,
You know?
that's an option.
Nobody can play games anymore, that's what I propose we do,
Well, what are they doing?
whatever it takes.
We're
They start
doing
off
our
doing
COLA
all-
in January. Isn't everyone doing their COLA in January?
I don't know off the top of my head if everybody's I don't think everybody's COLA does go into effect at the same time, and there are some that don't do COLAs as well. So they do a different approach with their wage adjustments.
Negotiation.
Well, yeah, it's different.
That's a
They
set
said-
of year.
they know what it's
Like
gonna
a set
be.
percentage that they then divvy up for represented, and some are not represented. They do it based on merit sometimes
Based-
instead of just a COLA.
Today we sat here, we talked about Bonneville costs, we talked about sharing money, hydro money. We talked about the doubling of cost of trucks in 10 years, we've talked about wages. Any way you look at it, the ratepayers in Oregon are screwed. And you can put
Yeah.
my name on that.
Costs are definitely
The
going up.
costs are gonna go into orbit,
Yeah.
it's happening in agriculture.
Yeah.
We can't afford to replace equipment, it's off the charts ridiculous. Everything's like this now.
I mean, that obviously brings me no pleasure to come in here and have to talk about this stuff.
fault of the employees,
But I know,
that's my
again,
point.
the labor side is just tough because, yes, we can try to unilaterally disarm and say we're not doing it anymore, but where does that lead, it's,
People have been playing this game against us
I know.
ever since I've been on the board. I think we need to move our wage adjustment period to when everybody else's is, and that way everybody's blind in the process.
we can certainly do that.
Because it's doing this.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to decide for themselves what's best and take their chance, and here we go.
Yeah,
I think
Well,
that's what we need.
I mean, what I'm seeing here, at least from today's discussion, is that we're not too far out of whack.
No.
Yeah, we're arguing about a buck and a half.
By doing the adjustment last year, we got a lot closer than we would have been, yeah.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna have to move the lineman wage that much.
So if you look ahead,
Everybody else.
as of right now, if you look ahead, we kind of know where the first one on here is going. It's going to be about 70, I think, in 2026, because that's a union number. So that's kind of the longer term target. And if you look at where this would need to go for us to get there, you could do it a couple ways. On the bottom here, you could do a 3.8% adjustment this year and a 3.5% in January, or you could wait and do more of a 7%-ish in 2026. So if we're targeting the top, again, that's an if. That's where you would have to go.
And if they end up if that ends up being the top number, that's what we know to be the top number right now, but
That's true.
they still have numbers to come in, so somebody could come up with a higher number than what we know of today.
Well, just, I think, kind of, in line with what Brian said, it just, I mean, it's hard for the board. It feels like it's a constant arms race.
Sure.
And if we want to put the brakes on, it sounds like we're not supporting our people. And that's the last thing that we want
Right.
anybody to think.
Right. This is a very reasonable conversation. I've had the same conversation with our super staff. It's like, we're perpetuating this to some degree. There's no.
7.5% year after year after
Yeah.
year after year is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is, for everybody, not just Emerald.
It's hard.
Well,
I'm not faulting
How
anybody, but
long
yeah.
ago was it that we did 15%? Almost 20%.
Mhm. Well, we did a couple big ones in 22 and 23, yeah. If you look elsewhere, I mean, we're looking at Lane County, like Northern Wasco, I know, for instance, is gonna be close to $80 by the end of their contract, which is 3 years, I think, maybe is it 3 or 5, something like that. They're targeting a big number, so. In some sense, this is the industry that we're in, there's just not a lot of skilled labor for the positions that we need. We're feeling the effects of that.
Well, North Wasco's an outlier too.
They'll admit they have to pay more.
Yeah, the Googs paying part of their
That's
bills
part,
too.
that's part of it, so. I kind of wanted to introduce this today, we don't have to make any decisions, last year, again, we didn't make an adjustment until November. We could do that, or we could wait till next year, but I wanna kind of put this on your radar and say, this is what we're seeing. And at some point, we're gonna need to kind of make some calls here.
I'll just throw out there too, one of the things that when I'm doing this process, we're drilling down to the local. I'm also doing analysis on how we stack up to all of the Oregon PUDs, how we stack up to, I think it's like a 13 or 14 Oregon utilities with a few Washington in the mix, and then additional analysis on how we're doing with just the Milliman data as well. And I will say this year, the Milliman data even came back that the lineman rate was below market. So there is a consistency on it being below.
I think that it's, emphasis should be as best we can on local. I mean, you get up along the Columbia River, they're competing with the guys across the river.
exactly.
Which are typically higher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Realistically, this is the job market that most of the folks here would be looking at, so considering other options. That's what it's gonna be. We can go back and do some more research, also, so we can look at the timing of when the utilities are doing their adjustments and maybe take that into consideration for what we wanna do.
I also like this, the approximation, doing it twice in the year, not all at once.
Okay, yeah, that's what we did last year, just it
Uh-huh.
was a little bit all at once, what we had been in the habit of was trying to make this big guess on January and constantly coming up short, so we were always lagging everybody else, so.
Every year-old data to come up with a
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, so the mid-year adjustment was an attempt to kind of try to true that up. It's still not an exact science though, so
I don't know that I object to doing it 2 steps.
But it's, they should obviously be, how soon, the unions can't negotiate 5 utilities at once, so they do.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing. They say, well, this utility's paying
Right,
us this much, how come you're
they'll
not?
feed on the
It
previous
works one against the other.
negotiations.
Same.
that's the argument against using just the locals, because then you're just really insular and everybody's.
But that's happening every.
Well, there's no
Yeah, that's true.
non-union ones to talk
Yeah.
about.
Right.
We can try to find out though which ones are locked in and kind of what the timing is, so.
Right, so it's a big game. Yeah, it's either do everything when we know, but then we're late.
Yeah.
So it might be probably the two-step thing again, but that first step isn't gonna set a standard for the others to, well, it would set a low standard.
Yeah.
But then we could adjust.
Yeah.
I don't like the November adjustment really, cause it's so close. See, but I don't know how soon you could get that. Any data like for an August adjustment. I mean, I don't know if that's even possible.
To get more wage data or something.
Yeah, to get, you'd have the latest union negotiated.
I think what we have on here is probably where they're gonna be for this year. I think this is the final number,
So
that's
that's
25.
So that's not, so
Yeah,
you could theoretically do an August figure.
Yeah,
yeah.
it could, you know, the budget impact is less if you do it later in the year, so that's part of the reason we planned it for that too.
Do a COLA January and August market.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's probably the best.
we had budget in here to do something, like we did last year. Again, just doing it in October, November just lightens the impact of the 25 budget, so that was. the argument for it. It's not, it's not a super material amount, but it does make something. So we'll bring it back in August to talk some more. You know, again, this is a big topic. I wanna make sure everybody's comfortable with everything here. We've got a little time to try to figure it out.
Yeah, and I like the remark about union dues. I mean, it's, yeah, clearly that's a relevant point.
Yeah, and the benefit thing is relevant too. We do know, you know, our medical is probably better than most, but the retirement lags a little bit with the co-ops too. So there's some give and take there. We can try to do some more work to compare that, see what that looks like. All right, well,
So bring it back in
we'll bring it
August.
back in August and, yeah, be thinking about maybe other ideas that you have, and we'll try to have some options for you at that point to present. Thank you. You can get out of here now, if you want. Okay,
Happy early birthday.
all right. Okay, so the last big item, if we're ready to go forward,
Yeah.
all right, would be our 26 budget assumptions. So we have been in the habit of, before the budget season each year, bringing in just our high level, what we think, you know, the baseline's gonna look like. So we've done that again this year. We actually did a dry run with this yesterday out in Cottage Grove, Dale's Finance and Rate Committee folks. I think, it was fairly well received, and you wanna join me up here, you're welcome to. So.
Did you get up here?
Yeah. You don't have to. I'll go through it. I'll kind of run through this. So the plan, again, is to put the budget together from about, I don't know, now until late August. And then I get together with the rest of your committee. We're having a small meeting this month, and I think we might have one scheduled for August. I don't know if we've got, see, August, I think maybe. But most of these meetings are happening this month, so just kind of give a rundown. And the whole Finance and Rate Committee will meet in October to kind of go through things. The board will have your first review of the budget on October 7th. But we wanted to set the stage for kind of where we're headed as we go into that process. Got hard copies.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted to fill that.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so. Let's see, so starting with the top line, we'll talk a little bit about revenue. We've been in a little bit of a different situation with loads lagging budgets. Which, you know, a couple of years ago, we were kind of chasing our tails trying to catch up. But you know, keeping our kind of conservative mentality when designing budgets. We've kind of caught up. There's a good graph that will kind of show this coming up. Yeah, right here. So you can kind of see out on this end. So the budget proposal, the load amount is on your guys's right. You can see 2024 was when the big storm was. Kind of like we almost never came back fully from the storm, from a load standpoint. You can see it's broken down between sectors, so residential was greatly impacted in 2024, and it just hasn't come back up to levels prior to storm.
Probably weather related. It's,
Yeah.
it's been a fairly moderate spring this year, so that's a lot of what we're seeing here.
And it's been, I mean, we've had some heat,
Yeah,
but not significant heat for extended periods.
yeah, it's been off and on.
It was a pretty good month for us. It was better than budget, so, but it hasn't been enough yet to kind of make up for those lost months we had. Other things that are in that, is, we lost that one industrial in Cottage Grove, that's impacted things. Commercial has remained really, really strong. And so I think that's been our most consistent sector. Month to month right now. We talked a lot about whether, like, how conservative really should we be with our retail sales forecast. I kind of, if you just kind of build it off of average, right, you're just like, well, weather's gonna happen and you're just gonna have to move, plan accordingly, but so we actually took a little bit more conservative approach and actually tried to depress some of those retail sales months next year. And so I think we're heading into 2026 a lot more conservative than we have previous years.
So our strategy is going to be to try to keep rate increase proposal sort of in the mid to low single digits with an effective date starting April 1 as opposed to the January 1 that we've done for 25 and 24. So we want to go back to that April 1 model, which is what we had previously done back prior to 2019 or 2019 and prior. Again, we will, as always, look at the COSA. So we'll look at the electric system charge versus the usage. Thank you. Lost it. And 2025 is the first time that we had adjusted the usage in quite some time. So we'll be looking at that again. We also are going to be undergoing an additional COSA later this year that will start. So, we'll see what we end up proposing for 2026, especially knowing that the COSA is going to be underway. So power costs, interestingly, there's a lot of emphasis right now on the revenue side of things with the switch to the BPA load following contract. Revenue suddenly becomes where we can build in a little bit of conservatism, as Rob was talking about. So power costs will be a little bit more stable, a little bit more known with that Bonneville load following contract. But
So
there
is a
rate
rate increase
increases.
associated
Yep.
with returning to load fall.
No, it's a general rate increase for every Bonneville customer.
Oh,
So it just happens to coincide with our product switch.
and we're gonna expect that to happen again with the new contracts, obviously.
Yeah, so there'll be another rate case that's happens for fiscal year 2029 for Bonneville, so that'll be October 2028. So they just completed the rate case for fiscal year 26. And so that is the outcome of that rate case, is the 9% rate increase for BPA power and 16% for BPA transmission. So those are in our forecast for next year. Power costs, like all the categories, are just gonna look really different next year. Like we're gonna lose the majority of the TEA costs. We're gonna lose all of our surplus sales, all of our market purchases. There's gonna be a lot of different, there's a lot of gaps, right, compared to the last couple of years. But that's because we've switched to load following. All of those costs then our Bonneville power number is gonna look a lot higher compared to this year. But on a net power cost basis, when you take everything together, it should be about the same. And over time, it should be less. And again, we've talked a lot about this during the product switch, is that the volatility decreases are really what we're gaining from this switch, right? Where we don't have to build in this massive conservatism and these huge net power cost budgets.
But the 9% BPA power increase is significant. That's really what's gonna be hard to absorb. Then pass it some portion of that along.
We would have seen that as a slice customer
Yeah.
too, right? Our composite charge or basic charge that we pay Bonneville every month, it would have gone up 9% as well.
All right, so we'll move on. As a staff, we've already started talking about priority projects. We usually start talking about that. Actually, this year we started talking about that really early, in May. We have done some brainstorming sessions, and then we've also done some sessions to narrow the list down to a more manageable list, of accomplishments. So, some early things include, doing a new strategic plan. So the last official one was in 2020. We've done some sessions with you all, as you will recall, on some of the big topics. But it is a great time to be dusting that off with all of the large significant challenges we have in front of us. And those include the facilities plan implementation. So as you recall, we underwent a process with an external consultant to look at our facility and some options to move forward, given our size and our growing needs. The renewable natural gas project at Fort Mountain, obviously a big topic for strategic planning. And then leadership development and employee development, that was also on our list in 2025, so this is a continuation of that. As well as adding in succession planning. We've got a lot of people on our management team, a lot of new people coming in. Sorry, I didn't finish that thought, on the management team that are sort of at similar stages in their careers, our careers. So doing some planning around that. And then also with new people coming in and seeing what their career goals are, and what they hope to accomplish. Territory acquisition is a big one as well. LED street lighting and area lighting is something that we started during 2025. So this is also a continuation to expand that project. Outage management tools, also working on this during 2025. So a continuation to expand that. And then near and dear to my heart, long-term financial planning. We've spoken to the board a little bit about especially the capital side of things and the level where we are, and really what to do about that. We consciously increased our level of capital spend during the 2020 strategic plan. So what does that look like on an ongoing basis? We don't think it's sustainable to do as significant levels of borrowing going forward as often as we have these last two times. So we need to talk about what that looks like and how that'll be funded.
And all of these could have some budget impact. That's why we're talking about them now. We'll see, it could be internal labor, it could be an actual budget request of some type. We want to put them on your radar.
All right, so the non-labor operating budget will take a similar approach as we have in previous years, which basically is that we have not instituted an equal increase across all categories. We review each line item and see what's been happening and what the needs are for the next budget year. We always are trying to maintain our service levels, and also still invest in new programs, limiting any potential rate increase. And of course, the budget is designed based on the board approved financial parameters. So that really is the basis for all budget planning. The labor cost inflation, we just spent some time talking about labor, so I won't talk too much about this, but similar to prior years, we are using a data-driven approach, including looking at local utilities as well as other publicly available benchmarks. So we will, sounds like, come back to you with some more information in August, both short-term as well as 2026 budget planning. And then headcount, we are anticipating finishing the year at 87.25. The 2025 budget anticipated one less than that. However, you might remember we came to the board requesting to convert some temporary labor dollars that were included in the 2025 budget over to a regular FTE. And with your blessing, we did do that. So we anticipate finishing at 87.25. We currently have 2 open positions that are hopefully expected to be filled by year end. Then the goal as of right now, or thinking as of right now, is to remain flat during the 2026 budget proposal. Still working on a few priority project things, but that is the hope.
Yeah, one potential item just to
Yeah.
keep an eye on is the inspection stuff we talked about. There could be a need for some additional support. Probably a contractor more so than an FTE, but that's something.
Capital investment level, I don't have a lot of new information for you about this tonight. We are currently working on the Q2 update that will come to you in the September meeting. We'll have it well fleshed out way before then, to go into the 2026 planning process. So stay tuned for more information on that. But the major capital upgrades category for 2025 was about 8 million. With overall capital about, I think about 19 million, which is similar to what we had previously forecast for the 2026 budget. Again, stay tuned for more information. We're still working on the detailed project by project roll up for both 2025 and then how that carries into 2026. Fleet is always a hot topic, and you just heard quite a bit about it. There is one item that the board approved clear back in 2022, that's on that list that we've been tracking for you. So that will be included in the 2026 budget. It's about $132,000. And we are still analyzing what else might be potentially included in 2026. That can be ordered and received by the end of 2026. So stay tuned for more on that. Again, just back to the financial parameters, maybe this should be earlier on, but they are the cornerstone of the budget development. There's a few that we'll be paying attention to. I think operating cash is a big one. You know, if we get FEMA funding coming in from the storm, suddenly changes greatly. We haven't heard much on that front. It's kind of gone quiet. We did have a meeting with OEM today though regarding some hazard mitigation projects. So maybe we can make some progress there. So constantly trying to get that funding to come in. We also invoiced Bonneville for the transmission job. So yeah, $900,000. So although operating cash is one to watch, we are actively managing and trying to get those funds to come in. Always watching debt service coverage, especially with the new borrowing, but I don't anticipate that one to be too close. Operating ratio also is another one just to make sure that we are operating at efficient levels on the operating side of things. The net to assets, we're forecasting it will be around 30% at year end. That one is a little tough to forecast, just because we don't know how things are going to be capitalized by year end. There's still a lot of time left, but we do know what our debt profile looks like. And then that will fall each year, assuming no borrowing for the next few years. That was pretty quick, but you all will have another chance to see this again. Dale already got to see it yesterday as a preview, so
I didn't ask yesterday, well, the 87.5 or 2.5, which I can guess we could 2.5, but
It's a couple.
are you replacing,
Yeah.
are you replacing the backfilling the position that you had to take out?
The recent one?
Yeah.
Yeah, not right away though.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna, but actually,
evaluating the.
we're not replacing that position. We're going to replace it with headcount with a different position.
Gotcha.
Always a good opportunity to, you know, when something changes, to reevaluate and.
Well, I would imagine when we go to block or load following, it's gonna change too.
Yeah, over time, that things will shift, and that's part of the whole succession planning and evaluation. We have a lot of conversations at senior staff about our headcount today and where we want to go with it, what's most important. So those conversations will be happening with everybody as we go forward.
So we'll look forward to more small group meetings. We've got a couple next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think Brian's where
Around
they're
the,
at, so.
later on, I guess. Coming on. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Good job.
So. Consent agenda.
Just one note about it, that we have the budget schedule on there too, so it's up on the screen
Okay.
here if you haven't seen it. Anything we wanna note in particular on that?
I guess the only thing I would note is that, typically we have a full committee meeting scheduled at some point in September. That was sort of the past practice, before we started doing these small group meetings. We really like these small group meetings. We hope the board likes them too. I think we've heard feedback that you do. Last year, we did not do the full group September meeting. It just didn't feel necessary after having just done the smaller group meetings. So we did take that off the schedule for this year. If anyone has any concerns with that, just let us know and we can talk about it. But that's the only major change.
Meeting in October.
Yeah,
The full committee meeting in October, we've got 2 scheduled. We always schedule 2, just in case, but we usually never need the second one. So that's October 14th.
yep, October 14th, and the board will have a review on October 7th before that meeting.
So the goal will be to get the proposal out to you 2 weeks ahead of time.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
So the consent agenda approved unanimously. Order contract approvals.
Yeah, we have one resolution, 2025-18. This is for a vehicle procurement. It's 2 service buckets, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. This is part of our normal fleet replacement plan you just heard all about, so. We expect to get these in 2027, I think, right? 2 years out, this is when we'll have to be tracking.
What's the dollar amount we're committing here?
$545,100 for 2.
And this one is a little interesting, written into the quote, there's some language about, this is the quoted price today. But the final price could not be that. And so we wrote into the resolution that, if the final price is more than 10% more than the 545,000, that, will come back to the board. We always will be updating you though, on how these things are looking and coming in, but I think we would formally come back if it was more than 10% over that.
It's hard to get a firm price these days.
Can't tell you when we're gonna get it to you, we can't tell you what it's gonna cost.
We do get it to you. Well,
Yeah.
I will say, Altech was so far out, we had to kind of take them out of the loop. And then they finally, on these 2 builds, are finally getting to us, actually a year or 2 earlier than originally projected. So now we can.
Well, how do they even know what their cost of materials is gonna be?
No, they don't. And that's.
We could get a different number.
Yeah, so we're gonna cut a we'll cut a PO to get
So,
it.
yeah,
Because we got this price in February or March and they're still honoring it. But it's, what's steel gonna cost, all that.
There's a pretty good chance, Mark, you might not wanna rule out rebuilding what we already have.
Yeah, we're looking into that, yeah.
Cause it won't include the new steel price. The labor might be cheaper than the steel and aluminum before we're done.
Well, that's what we found. We found like that's when we did ask for a quote, it was 130 some thousand. Now they're 190,000, but versus 140 for a complete rebuild with an existing, that one piece of metal being built. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you still
The
have.
labor's astronomical too.
Yeah. It's repaint and all that.
We need to automate, that's what I hear on the radio.
I move that we approve resolution 2025-18.
Second.
We have. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See that pass unanimously. Motions and resolutions adopting board policy manual updates.
Yeah, so, we've talked about this a couple meetings now. There are 3 changes, so I don't, if you've all seen them, we can vote or I can bring them up here as well.
Yeah, I think we've all seen.
You all seen them, okay? So
we've seen.
the one about the clothing was the new one, so that's in there, $100 a year for board members if you wanna purchase logo.
So do we have a catalog that we can look at that stuff?
Yeah, we have a website we can forward out to you that we use. I don't know how the actual ordering works, but we'll figure that out, send you the logistics. Yeah, easy charge.
I don't, the E-Pud and brand stuff I have is so precious, I don't even wear it.
Yeah,
Keep it in a plastic bag in the closet. huh?
Yeah.
Time capital.
we'll get to the instructions.
Oh, God.
I could get some more Brown and Caldwell stuff, I guess.
I move we accept resolution 2025-19.
Second. We have a movement and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up for Patty.
Okay,
So that passed unanimously, review of motions.
There's motion to approve the consent agenda that was unanimously approved. Motion to approve resolution 2025-18, authorizing the general manager to make a vehicle procurement in a future budget year, unanimously approved. A motion to approve resolution 2025-19, adopting board policy manual updates, unanimously approved. And then the motion earlier for the GM contract.
Right.
The second addendum. There was 4 yes votes and then 1 abstain vote.
Okay, any public comment? See. That. Suggestions.
How we do?
No, you're not.
How do we compare?
probably a few or less suit and ties in this room.
Just gonna go back and go, those liberal.
I have an event. Now,
Oh, you do? In Pleasant Hill?
no, here,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Want to go over financials?
well, before that,
Oh. Oh, you have an event? Okay.
we had, excuse me a minute. We had one board member.
He's gonna kill you.
An extensive whining because having to go on board.
I'm not doing this.
On his birthday.
That's right, didn't birthday.
Crap, I should have kept my mouth shut.
He was told I was.
Haven't you had enough birthdays already?
Cake?
Oh, he's lighting up now. I like
So-
cake.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's a good one.
This is for happy birthday, Brian. We're taking a board meeting on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Thank you, great idea, great idea. What am I gonna use it for?
We can serve an hour as soon as the meeting's over.
Yeah, we can adjourn real quickly. We won't sing, right?
Oh, that's
All right.
cheesy.
Well, happy birthday officially.
Thank you.
Happy
He said
birthday.
so for Alicia's husband, his birthday is today too.
Yeah.
Upcoming meetings and events. Okuda, are you going to?
I was the last one, I plan on going to this one Thursday. I didn't wait to see Charles.
Last month was the first.
I know,
meeting
you
I've ever missed.
I know. I do that.
Charles, you could fill the board report.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah, no, I can do that.
And then,
I'll be there.
Gonna fill in for the treasurer's report.
Yep, I'll be there.
That's it.
All right.
Done.
All I have to say is that I have nothing to say.
Thank you all. See you. Yes.
So.
Have a
enjoy
good vacation, Kyle.
Thank you, Patty. See you soon.
Yeah.
You want to say what?
Patty, this is out of the gate.